You can feel it, can't you? That silence that isn't absence. It's a quiet preparation. Something in the air has shifted. And even though he's not saying it, your soul already knows. This connection isn't over. The angels show me a thread of light still linking your heart to his. It pulses in the unseen, carrying memories, unfinished words, silent prayers. He tried to let go. He convinced himself he was over it. But the truth is, his spirit never stopped whispering your name in the dark. Your presence stirred something in him. Not desire. Not fantasy. But recognition. A memory of love from before this lifetime. That's why he pulled back. That's why he couldn't look you in the eyes for too long. Because when he did, something ancient stirred inside, a knowing that scared him more than losing you. And yet, he hasn't lost you. Because divine love does not break. It bends. It breathes. It waits in holy stillness. The angels say, she came into his life like a sacred interruption, and nothing has been the same since. You were not a coincidence. You were not a distraction. You were sent to awaken, to heal, to remind him of who he is beneath the masks. He doesn't understand it yet, but something inside him is remembering. Slowly, tenderly, painfully. And as he remembers, he will return. Because the universe is not finished with this love. And neither are you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. He doesn't speak of it. He might even smile and pretend all is well. But the angels see it clearly. He is carrying wounds so old, he no longer knows their origin, only their weight. This isn't about you. And it never was. The walls he puts up were built long before you arrived. His hesitation isn't rejection. It's fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of needing someone so deeply that their absence might break him. He's learned to survive through silence. To protect himself with distance. And now, faced with your light, he doesn't know what to do with all the truth you make him feel. You see, your love doesn't flatter his ego, it touches his soul. And that scares him. Because the soul doesn't play games. The soul doesn't pretend. The soul demands surrender. He wasn't ready. The angels say, he has mistaken protection for power. But his real strength lies in allowing himself to be seen. When you reached out with kindness, he flinched. Not because you did something wrong, but because your softness threatened the armor he spent years forging. That's why he goes silent. That's why he watches you from afar. Because he knows that with you he can't hide. He wants to love you, but only once he feels safe. Safe to unravel. Safe to not be the strong one. Safe to break and still be held. So he retreats. Not out of indifference, but out of instinct. The angels ask, can you see his pain without trying to fix it? Can you love without rushing the healing? Because this is sacred ground. And the soul, when gently seen, begins to bloom. You've poured so much into him. Your time, your patience, your silent prayers. And still, he wavers. Still, he drifts in and out of your life like a tide that can't decide whether to rise or retreat. But today, the angels gently place their hands over your heart and whisper, you are not here to be forgotten while saving someone else from their shadows. This love, yes, it's real. But real does not mean self-neglect. Real does not mean waiting forever in the empty space where his courage should live. The sacred truth is this: your light is not meant to burn out in the name of hope. You have a fire inside you that was meant to warm, not to consume. To guide, not to exhaust. You are not his healer. You are not his redemption. You are a soul walking your own path, with or without his readiness. And the angels remind you, your worth is not measured by how much pain you can carry for someone else. You can love deeply and still choose yourself. You can see his soul and still walk away if your own is breaking. Because love that costs you your peace is not love. It is attachment dressed in hope. So today, Come home to yourself. Light your own candles. Tend to your own garden. Speak to the angels who have always circled above you. You are not lost in this story. You are the light at the center of it. And when you care for that light, something miraculous happens. He begins to feel the loss of your absence, not as punishment, but as permission to grow. And that, dear soul, may be the most loving thing you'll ever do. He doesn't fully understand why your presence unsettles him, why his chest tightens when he hears your voice, why silence becomes unbearable after your laughter fades. But the angels do. They say, your soul is a mirror, and in your reflection, he sees what he's tried to forget. Not just the beauty, not just the light, but the broken parts too. The hunger for meaning, the pain he buried, the parts of himself he swore never to feel again. Your energy, without trying, brings truth into the room. It lingers in the air after you leave. It hums in his bones when you're near. It reminds him that he has not been living, only hiding. And that frightens him more than losing you ever could. Because to stand in your light means facing the shadows he thought were gone. You didn't mean to reveal so much. But love has its own agenda. It shows us where we've been asleep, where we ache, where we've settled for less. And so, he pulls away. Not because you are too much, but because you are just enough to make him question everything. The angels whisper, she is not his comfort zone. She is his awakening. This isn't a punishment. This is transformation. You entered his life like a gentle breeze carrying truth on its wings. And now he stands before his own reflection, seeing himself for the first time. What he chooses to do with that is no longer your burden. You've already done the sacred work. You held up the mirror with care. You offered your love without pretense. Now let the image do what it was meant to do. Shake him into remembering who he truly is. It always begins in silence. Not with grand gestures. Not with confessions. But with a quiet shift inside his soul, barely noticeable, yet irreversible. He woke up thinking of you again. Not with longing, but with recognition. A soft ache. A memory his body carries. A warmth he can't explain. The angels say, he is beginning to feel, not just what he lost, but what he never truly understood until now. It's in the way he pauses when he sees your name. The way he listens for your voice in crowded spaces. The way he wonders how someone like you could still care after everything. Something is cracking open. Slowly, like dawn slipping through the blinds. He remembers how you looked at him, not for who he pretended to be, but for who he was underneath it all. He remembers the calm in your presence. The way your silence spoke louder than most people's promises. And now, in the stillness of his life, those memories are no longer just nostalgia, they are truth. He is awakening. Not because you asked him to, but because the connection refused to be buried. The angels are rearranging things behind the scenes. Gently removing the noise so he can hear the sound of his own heart again. And that heart is calling your name. Not with urgency. Not with clarity. But with a deep, soulful hunger. The kind that understands this love is not fleeting. The kind that recognizes you were the pivotal moment all along. Let him remember. Let him rise on his own. Because when he does, it won't be confusion guiding him back. It will be certainty. And that changes everything. He leaves. He comes back. He promises nothing, but his eyes tell stories of everything. And you're left in between. Always in between. But the angels urge you, this isn't confusion. It's a pattern. And patterns reveal what words can't. This push and pull. It isn't your fault. It isn't a game. It's his soul wrestling with its own awakening. Because every time he steps closer to you, he steps further away from the identity he built to survive. You don't just invite him in. You invite him to grow. And growing hurts. So he runs. Then misses you. Then returns as if no time has passed. He touches your presence like it's a bomb, until his fears catch up again. The angels say, his spirit remembers you, but his wounds still fear you. That's the cycle. He loves how you make him feel, alive, real, seen. But he dreads the cost of that honesty. Because to stay, he would have to dismantle everything false. And that, to him, still feels like death. So he chooses comfort, then regrets it, then comes back. And you start to wonder if you are hard to love. You are not. You are hard to forget. You are hard to deceive. You are hard to keep pretending with. That is your power. The angels want you to stop shrinking to keep him close. Stop softening your truth to align with his confusion. This isn't about being chosen. This is about not abandoning yourself every time he walks away. When you stay grounded in your light, something changes, not in him but in you. You stop waiting. You start witnessing. And eventually he must decide, either rise to meet your truth, or keep repeating his escape. But you will not bend in circles anymore. You never tried to fix him. You just loved him. Quietly. Steadily. In the ways that mattered most when no one was watching. And that, more than anything, has undone him. The angels say, your love did not demand. It healed. Not by force. Not with speeches. But with presence. You saw his shadows and didn't flinch. You heard his silences and still stayed. You offered softness in a world that taught him to expect storms. And now, something in him is shifting. It's subtle. Maybe invisible to others. But the healing has begun. Not because you healed him, but because your love gave him permission to feel what needed healing. There is a tenderness he holds now that he didn't have before. A quiet longing for honesty. For depth. For something more sacred than pleasure or possession. He's learning that love doesn't take, it restores. You are the memory his body returns to when life gets loud. You are the presence his soul remembers when the world forgets him. He may not say it. He may never fully understand it. But the medicine has already entered his bloodstream. Love like yours doesn't leave a scar, it leaves a sanctuary. And the angels are wrapping you in gratitude. Not because you saved him, but because you didn't try to. You just stood in your truth. Open. Honest. Soft. Fierce. That was the alchemy. That was the miracle. Now let the healing continue, not just in him, but in you too. Because love is not only what you give, it's what you deserve to receive in return. You are not just a chapter in his story. You are the moment everything began to make sense. The days stretch long. The nights feel louder. And sometimes, in the stillness, you wonder, was all of this real? But the angels are clear, nothing that moves your soul this deeply is ever random. There is a path beneath your feet, even if you cannot see it. A divine thread pulling both your hearts through the thorns, through the silence, through the waiting. This is not delay. This is design. Every distance, every pause, every time he pulled away, it served a purpose far greater than you may realize. Because what is being prepared is not just a reunion, but a rebirth. You are being refined. Not punished. Not forgotten. Refined into the version of you who receives, not chases. Who holds, not begs. Who trusts, even when there is no evidence. And him? He's being stripped of everything that is false. Of the stories, the pride, the fear. So that when he comes, he won't bring a mask. He'll bring truth. The angels whisper, let go of timelines. Hold on to faith. Because timing is never yours to control. It belongs to God. And when it arrives, it does not knock. It floods in. It overwhelms with what feels right. It answers every doubt with divine precision. You are not being ignored. You are being guided. There is a plan. A holy unfolding. And in this season of silence, heaven is not quiet. Heaven is at work. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. He hides behind humor, behind logic, behind perfectly timed silences. But the angels see underneath it all. They see the boy inside the man, trembling, longing, unsure how to love without losing himself. They whisper, "He is not afraid of you. He is afraid of what you awaken in him." You do not ask for much. You never did. But your presence brings forth everything he tried to bury. And that terrifies him. Because vulnerability was never safe. He learned early on that opening his heart meant risking it shattering. So he built walls, not out of cruelty, but out of survival. Now, standing in front of you, with your eyes full of truth and your heart still open, he feels exposed in ways he doesn't know how to navigate. He thinks, what if I fail her? What if I can't be who she sees in me? What if I love her, and lose myself again? So he stays distant. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much. And caring this much brings him to the edge of everything he has avoided. The angels hold him there, whispering courage into his doubt, gently unraveling the armor he wears like skin. But they speak to you too. They say, do not chase his becoming. Witness it. He may not show it, but your love has reached him. It cracked something open within him. It softened his breath. It made him wonder if maybe, just maybe, he is worthy. Keep your heart guarded by grace. Let your love remain unconditional, but your peace non-negotiable. Because true love doesn't beg for entry. It invites presence. And when he's ready, truly ready, he will come, not as a seeker of your light, but as a bearer of his own. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. There comes a moment when the waiting dissolves, not because the answer finally arrives, but because your soul chooses peace over control. This is that moment. The angels lean close now, surrounding you with soft wings of knowing. They whisper, you did not fail. You loved. You showed up with honesty. You held space when it hurt. You believed in something unseen. And that is holy. Let go of what could have been. Not because it wasn't real, but because real love doesn't need to be chased, performed, or fixed. It needs space to grow. And sometimes, that space looks like distance. Sometimes, the most sacred act of love is release, not from hope, but from expectation. You were never here to force a path. You were here to walk your own, bright, steady, and true. If he returns, let it be because his soul recognizes the light in yours. Not because you waited, but because you kept becoming. The angels say, the right love never arrives late. It arrives prepared. You don't need to fight for what is divine. Divine love finds you. In the quiet. In the stillness. In the sacred alignment, only heaven can orchestrate. Close your eyes. Feel the peace settling in where anxiety once resided. That is the sign. That is the shift. That is the beginning. You are no longer waiting. You are rising. And from that altitude, everything changes.